All right, good afternoon. I salute you. Today is the 6th of April, 2025. I want to bring something to your attention. This is just a quick one. Now, you realize that anytime we are talking about the Western Togoland to separate from Ghana, there is this agenda from the political class and some people to push a narrative for you to get so that you think that that is the case. Now, they never tell you that Britain wrote to the United Nations that she had granted independence to only the territories in Gold Coast as the state of Ghana. They never tell you that. So Britain was very careful in writing to the United Nations that she had granted independence only to the Gold Coast and not Gold Coast and the Togoland. Now, the only thing she said was that Gold Coast had become independent state of Ghana and there is a union between Gold Coast and the UN Trust Territory of Togoland under British administration. So it tells you that Britain is very much aware that the condition prevailing does not allow any integration. You understand? But they will come and tell you that the people voted in the plebiscite to be integrated into Gold Coast to become Ghana, which is not the case. You realize that anytime they tell you this, they never show any document. They never advance any document to prove whatever they are saying to you. You understand? So they just want you to believe a certain narrative. And unfortunately, you have fallen for that narrative because you yourself, you don't want to read. You don't want to do any research into the matter before you comment. So you have become, they lied to you successfully and you bought it. Now, I want to bring something to your attention. Now, if they say the people of Togoland voted in the plebiscite to become a part of Ghana, you should understand that on the table of the United Nations, it is not integration into the Gold Coast that is the case. But Britain said there's a union. And on the table of the United Nations, it is the union that is stated there. So it means the state of Ghana and Togoland are in union, according to the report or according to the final message from Britain. So the question you should be asking yourself is, these your leaders should tell you where that union is. They intentionally push a narrative that, oh, Togoland and other, they come together to form Gold Coast to become Ghana. They say this technically so that you don't ask them about what exactly the union is, because it takes 2 or 3 to be in union. So they quickly say there's an integration, but there was nothing like integration. Now, Britain and Kwame Nkrumah has a goal to achieve, which is more of economic when Togoland becomes part of Ghana. And there's a reason for there's another evidence which I'm going to read to you. You know, that's what I do. I always bring evidence to you. Now, go online, use your search engine, Google search engine, and look for the hoisting of the swastika in Togoland. You will read something. When you open that, there is a publication by W.K. Yayo. Yayo spelled Y-A-Y-O-H. Take that report and go down to page 15. When you read page 15, getting to page 16, you will read something. The Convention People's Party itself had advantage to gain in seeking the integration of Togoland into the Gold Coast. Its stance emanates from the integration from the proposed Volta River project, that's Akosombo Dam, an elaborate hydroelectric power scheme which involves the damming of the River Volta. It would have been unthinkable for the Gold Coast government to build such a gigantic dam so close to Togoland and allow the latter to become an independent nation. That would have had serious security implications for the Gold Coast. It was imperative, therefore, that Togoland remain part of Gold Coast, without which the project might well have been abandoned. Consequently, the CPP, which hitherto had no foothold in the territory, began moves to open branches of the party in the Trust Territory. In May 1950 to 51, Kwame Nkrumah toured the territory to canvass support for the bid to integrate British Togoland into the Gold Coast colony. You see what we have been telling you all this while? You see? So Gold Coast Party, which is the CPP, had no relationship with the Togoland. Togoland is not a colony for the British. It is just a tutelage. It is just a country that you are supposed to what? Nurture to independence. So there's a rules and regulation governing how Britain treats the territory. That is why Britain is supposed to be writing reports on all the activities of the Togoland. So Britain allowed Kwame Nkrumah to work in Togoland to canvass for vote to integrate the region, the territory into the Gold Coast. All this agenda. And that is why when you read the plebiscite report, they said that Togoland cannot be integrated into the Gold Coast. Whatever the plebiscite will bring should be a union. And that is why Britain, after all these things, Britain wrote to the United Nations that she had formed a union between the state of Ghana, that she has granted independence from Gold Coast, and the British Togoland. That is what is on the table of the United Nations. Go and check. Ask your politicians, those that you praise so much. Ask them, what exactly was the spirit and the purpose of the letter, the final letter Britain wrote to the United Nations before Ghana was granted independence? The evidence are there. The reason they are not publishing these things in the history books of Ghana for all of you to read is because you'll be asking them for questions. You'll be asking them answers. You'll be asking questions and they cannot give you the answers. And it is going to defeat all the lie that they have been telling you all this while against the Western Togoland Corps. That is all. That's what is happening. That is why till today, Ghana cannot produce any evidence of a union between Togoland and the state of Ghana. And you who is watching me, with all your education, with the level of knowledge that you've gathered, you know that before two countries enter into a relationship, it took two leadership of these countries to sit down on a table and sign and rectify an agreement. That is why we have Czechoslovakia. And when they dissolve that relationship, Czech remain on its own, Slovenia remains on its own. That's why there's evidence of Czechoslovakia becoming a unity of two different territories. But you who claim you know everything. And when we talk about West Togoland, you say, hey, go and arrest them, do this, do that. Now, why do you think that it is Ghana make a law that anybody that will speak about Togoland should be arrested? If you don't have anything, why are you arresting the people? Why don't you allow them to speak? You know, if we carry all these things, the evidence will show. There will be more evidence against all the propaganda you have been saying, you have been fed with. So Ghana don't want us to speak, but everybody in the country can speak about their territory and everything, but Togoland cannot. And this thing does not click your mind to know that there's a danger ahead. Now, before I go, I want to assure you that, you see, this Western Togoland thing, we are pursuing it with the law. A time is coming, Ghana will come and tell all of us the evidence of this union. Britain will come, United Nations will be coming in. I can assure you that. So this afternoon, I just want to bring this thing to your attention. Go and look for the swastika and read. Know before you speak on the Western Togoland case. Don't wait for your politicians to come and tell you anything and you hear it and you'll be jumping here and there, accusing your own brothers and sisters. Don't do that. Read first before you comment. Thank you so much. Enjoy the afternoon.